Trust, I learned, is fragile, and it shatters fast. My name is Daniel Harris. I'm 46 years old, a software engineer who spent 2 decades building code that never lies, never cheats, never betrays. Numbers don't deceive. Logic doesn't manipulate. In my world of algorithms and data structures, everything operates exactly as programmed. Perhaps that's why I never saw it coming. Emily and I met when I was 25, fresh out of grad school with a job offer from a tech startup that promised stock options and long hours. She was working at the coffee shop across from my office, vibrant, spontaneous, everything I wasn't. Where I calculated, she improvised. Where I planned, she dreamed. We balanced each other, or so I believed for 20 years. Our suburban home in Westchester reflected our life together, stable, comfortable, predictable. I worked 60-hour weeks maintaining enterprise systems while Emily managed our household. She'd given up her art career years ago to focus on us, she'd said. I provided, well, 6 figures, bonuses, security. She wanted for nothing. The break-in started 3 months ago. The Johnsons, 2 streets over, came home to ransacked rooms. The Patels lost jewelry passed down through generations. Our neighborhood WhatsApp group buzzed with paranoia and recommendations for security companies. I didn't hire anyone. Why pay for installation when I could do it better myself? I spent a weekend wiring our home with state-of-the-art cameras. Living room, kitchen, hallways, guest bedroom, even our master suite. All connected to cloud storage, all accessible from my phone. High definition, night vision, motion activated. Honey, doesn't this feel like overkill? Emily had asked, watching me mount the discreet black dome in our bedroom corner. Better safe than sorry, I'd replied, testing the angle on my phone. You won't even notice them after a while, she'd shrugged, returning to her magazine. I never told her about the cloud backup, the automatic 30-day archive, the remote access from anywhere. Details would only bore her. Our routine remained unchanged. I'd leave at 7:30 sharp, coffee in my travel mug, NPR on the radio. Emily would kiss me goodbye at the door, still in her robe, hair messy from sleep. I'd return around 7, sometimes 8 if debugging ran long. She'd have dinner ready, nothing fancy, but always warm, always waiting. Weekends meant errands, Netflix, occasional dinners with friends. We'd stopped discussing children years ago when medical tests revealed the impossibility. We'd grieved, adapted, moved forward. Our marriage felt solid, worn smooth by familiarity like river stones. Looking back, the signs were there. New perfumes I didn't recognize. Yoga classes that ran longer. Shopping trips that yielded no bags. Her phone face down during meals. The way she'd freshen her makeup at 2 in the afternoon. I just want to feel pretty, she'd say when I'd comment on a new dress. A fresh manicure. You're always pretty to me, I'd respond, meaning it. 20 years hadn't diminished her beauty. If anything, maturity had refined it. At 43, Emily turned heads. I'd noticed men noticing, felt pride that she came home to me. The cameras recorded everything in silent dedication. Empty rooms mostly, shadows shifting with the sun's movement. Occasionally, our cat, Mr. Whiskers, would trigger the motion sensor. I'd check the app during boring meetings, watching our home in real time. Emily vacuuming, Emily reading, Emily doing yoga in the living room. Our life documented in mundane detail. 3 weeks passed without incident. The neighborhood break-ins stopped. The WhatsApp group returned to lost pets and babysitter recommendations. I'd almost forgotten about the security system running silently in the background, uploading our quotidian existence to distant servers. Then came the Tuesday I'll never forget. A server crash had sent everyone home early. I'd grabbed takeout Thai, Emily's favorite, planning to surprise her. But traffic was terrible, an accident backing everything up. By the time I reached home, she'd already texted about running errands. Sitting in my home office, pad Thai growing cold, I opened the security app out of boredom. I decided to review the week's footage, fast-forwarding through empty rooms. A routine security check, nothing more. One afternoon, while scrolling through what I expected to be hours of empty rooms, I saw Emily. But she wasn't alone. The man's hand interlaced with Emily's fingers as they stood in our living room. My living room. The coffee table I'd assembled, the couch we'd picked together, the wedding photos on the mantel, all bearing witness to their intimacy. I paused the video, rewound, played again. They were laughing about something. Emily throwing her head back in that way she had when genuinely amused. She wore the sundress I'd complimented that morning, the yellow one with small flowers. The timestamp read 2:47 p.m. last Thursday. I'd been in a budget meeting defending department resources. The man was tall, athletic, maybe 35. Polo shirt, khakis, the uniform of suburban casual. He pulled Emily close, whispered something in her ear. She giggled, actually giggled, like a teenager. Then they walked toward the hallway, toward our guest bedroom, and disappeared from the living room camera's view. My engineer's brain kicked in, overriding the emotional chaos. I switched camera feeds. Guest bedroom 2:48 p.m. They entered together. The rest I didn't need to see, though I watched anyway, needing confirmation of what I already knew. 43 minutes later, they emerged, disheveled, glowing. He left through the front door. Emily straightened the guest bed, sprayed air freshener, and continued her day as if nothing had happened. I sat in my office chair, Thai food congealing in its container, and methodically went through the archived footage. Every day, backward in time, searching. My hands were steady, my breathing controlled. This was just data analysis, pattern recognition, nothing more. Wednesday, 1 week ago, a different man. Older, silver-haired, wearing a suit. They didn't bother with the guest room. Monday, 2 weeks ago, the first man again. This time longer, almost 2 hours. The previous Friday. Someone new, younger, barely looking 25. The pattern emerged like code, revealing its logic. 2 to 3 times per week, always between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., always different men. Some appeared once and never returned. Others became regulars. The silver-haired man appeared 4 times over 3 weeks. The young one twice I recognized faces. Tom from the hardware store where Emily bought gardening supplies. Our neighbor's contractor who'd renovated their kitchen. The trainer from Emily's gym. Men I'd spoken to, shaken hands with, who'd looked me in the eye while knowing what they'd done in my home. My documentation became obsessive, precise. I created a spreadsheet, dates, times, duration, frequency. I assigned them nicknames, Silver Fox, Gym Rat, Polo Shirt, Young Buck. The data painted a picture of systematic, deliberate betrayal. This wasn't a mistake, a moment of weakness. This was a lifestyle. The footage revealed Emily's routine. She'd shower after each encounter, change sheets if they'd used our bed, air out rooms, light candles. She'd developed a system, refined over what must have been months. How long had this been happening? The cameras only went back 30 days, but the ease of her deception suggested extensive practice. I compiled the evidence into a single file. 20 minutes of irrefutable proof, edited precisely. Timestamps visible, multiple angles, faces clearly shown. No court, no lawyer, no person could watch this and doubt what had occurred. That evening, Emily served chicken parmesan, my favorite. She asked about my day, shared gossip from her book club, complained about the grocery store's produce selection. Normal dinner conversation while I sat across from her, knowing what I knew, the video file burning on my laptop upstairs. "You're quiet tonight," she observed, reaching for my hand across the table. "Long day?" "Server issues," I replied, letting her fingers intertwine with mine, remembering how those same fingers had touched another man 6 hours earlier. "Just processing everything." "You work too hard," she said, squeezing gently. "Maybe we should plan a vacation. We haven't been away in ages." "Maybe," I agreed, studying her face. No guilt, no tells, no indication that her afternoon had been anything but ordinary. She was a better liar than I'd ever imagined possible. That night, she curled against me in bed, her breathing eventually deepening into sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, the camera's red light blinking in the corner. She'd performed this same domestic choreography after each betrayal. How many nights had I held her, unaware of what those hands had done, where that body had been? My phone glowed beside the bed. One tap would show me the live feed, another would open today's recordings. I wondered if she'd been with someone while I'd been stuck in traffic, if that's why she'd messaged about errands. The urge to check was overwhelming, but I resisted. I had enough evidence. What I needed now was a plan, Emily murmured in her sleep, pressing closer. 20 years of marriage reduced to 20 minutes of footage. She'd made her choice repeatedly. deliberately, enthusiastically. Now it was time for mine. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. Instead, I picked up my phone and called someone who would help me bury her legally. Dylan Murphy's law office occupied the top floor of a gleaming downtown high-rise, all glass and sharp angles. He specialized in high-asset divorces, the kind where millions moved and reputations crumbled. A colleague had recommended him after his own messy split. "Murphy's a shark," he'd said, "but you want him in your corner, not theirs." Murphy watched my 20-minute compilation without expression, occasionally pausing to examine details. When it finished, he leaned back in his leather chair, a slow smile spreading across his face. "Daniel, you won't just win this divorce. You'll bury her," he said, tapping his Mont Blanc against his legal pad. "This evidence is nuclear. Obtained legally on your property, multiple instances, multiple partners. No judge will award her anything. No alimony, no assets, nothing. I want more than that," I said. "I want her to lose everything." Murphy's smile widened. "Then let's discuss strategy," he replied. Over the next 2 hours, we architected Emily's destruction. First, asset protection. I'd move money from joint accounts to individual ones, maximum legal transfers that couldn't be contested. The house was in my name only, a decision from years ago when my credit was better. My 401k, untouchable. Her name was on one car, worth maybe $8,000. She'd keep that? Timeline? I asked. 6 weeks to prepare everything properly, he answered. We'll document all marital assets, secure your finances, prepare the filing. She won't know until we serve her. Based on this evidence, I can fast-track the actual divorce. 3 months, maybe 4, and you're free. I paid Murphy's retainer from my personal account. $10,000 for the complete annihilation of Emily's life. Reasonable. The next weeks required Oscar-worthy performance. Every morning's goodbye kiss, every evening's dinner conversation, every weekend's routine, all while knowing I was dismantling our life piece by piece. I became a method actor in my own marriage. Tuesday, transferred $15,000 from savings to my individual account. Emily never checked bank statements. That was my department. Thursday, met with a financial advisor, restructured investments to remove her as beneficiary. The paperwork would process after the filing. Friday, photographed every item in our home, cataloging marital assets. Emily was at her yoga class. The cameras showed her with polo shirt in our bed. I studied her with scientific detachment. She had tells I'd never noticed. The slight flush in her cheeks on encounter days. How she'd suggest eating out those evenings, too tired to cook. The way she'd shower immediately when I came home, claiming gym sweat. Her patterns were predictable. Mondays and Thursdays were Silver Fox. Tuesdays might be Gym Rat or someone new. Fridays were wild cards. She kept them all separate, managed their schedules like a small business. I wondered if she had a spreadsheet too, if we were both secretly documenting our marriage's reality. The strangest part was the intimacy of deception. We'd make love, less frequently than before, but still. And I'd know she'd been with someone else hours earlier. She'd moan my name while probably thinking of them. I felt nothing. My body performed while my mind calculated timeline adjustments. "You seem distant lately," Emily mentioned over Saturday breakfast. "Is everything okay?" "Big project at work," I replied, spreading jam on toast. "Government contract. Lot of pressure." "Poor baby," she cooed, rubbing my shoulder. "When it's done, we should celebrate." "Maybe that trip we talked about?" "Sure," I agreed, knowing she'd never make that trip. I discovered her hidden credit card through our insurance paperwork. Statements sent to a P.O. box I traced. Lingerie purchases, hotel charges, restaurant bills for two. She'd been funding her affairs with cash advances against our joint future. Murphy added fraud to the filing. The men kept coming. I stopped watching live, just archived the footage. Silver Fox brought flowers once. Polo Shirt fixed our garage door opener, both the problem and solution occurring while I was at work. Young Buck apparently wrote poetry. I caught Emily reading something and crying, then hiding pages in her jewelry box. Each piece of evidence was another nail. Murphy was ecstatic. "She's giving us everything," he said during one of our meetings. "It's like she wants to lose." 3 weeks before serving papers, Emily's parents visited for dinner. Her mother complimented our home. Her father discussed retirement plans. They adored their only daughter, their successful son-in-law, their stable family unit. I served excellent wine, told amusing stories, and imagined their faces when they learned the truth. You two are so perfect together. Her mother sighed over dessert. 20 years and still in love. It gives us such peace knowing Emily found you. We're very fortunate, I agreed, catching Emily's eye. She smiled, reached for my hand. That night, reviewing the week's footage, I watched Emily with 3 different men. She was escalating, getting careless. Twice, she'd barely cleaned up before I arrived home. Once, polo shirt left through the back door as I pulled into the driveway. Tomorrow, while Emily would serve me dinner with that same innocent smile, someone would be at our door with papers that would destroy her world forever. Emily prepared lamb chops with mint sauce, roasted vegetables, and a bottle of Malbec she'd been saving. She'd dressed up slightly, a casual elegance that might have stirred something months ago. Now I recognized it as post-affair euphoria. The cameras confirmed Jim Rat's visit that afternoon. "This is wonderful," I said, cutting into the perfectly pink meat. "What's the occasion?" "Can't a wife spoil her husband?" She replied with a smile, raising her wine glass. "To us." "To us," I echoed, knowing the process server was parked outside, waiting for my 7:30 text. We discussed weekend plans. She wanted to visit the farmer's market, maybe catch a movie. Her book club was reading something ambitious, Dostoevsky maybe. She complained about her mother's passive-aggressive comments during their last phone call. Normal, Friday evening conversation between a husband and wife of 20 years. At 7:27, I excused myself to the bathroom, sent the text. Now, the doorbell rang at 7:31. "I'll get it," Emily called out, probably expecting Amazon delivery. I stood in the hallway watching her open the door. The process server was professional, nondescript. "Are you Emily Harris?" he asked. "Yes," she answered. "You've been served," he said, handing her the envelope. He turned and left. Emily stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the papers. I watched confusion shift to concern, then to shock as she read. She turned slowly, finding me watching from the hallway. "Daniel, what is this?" she asked. "Divorce papers," I said calmly. "I think they're self-explanatory." "This is insane." She laughed, actually laughed, waving the papers. "You can't be serious." "What's gotten into you? Is this about something I said?" "Did your mother call you?" "No, Emily. It's about what you did," I replied. Her face cycled through emotions like a slot machine. "I don't understand. Whatever you think happened, I don't think anything happened." "I know what happened," I interrupted. "Every Tuesday with Tom from the hardware store. Thursdays with Richard. Silver Fox was my name for him." "Should I continue?" The papers fluttered from her fingers. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No words came. "The cameras, Emily, the ones I installed 3 months ago. They record everything," I explained. She sank onto the entrance bench, the same spot where she'd kissed Polo Shirt goodbye yesterday. You've been watching me? Our home security system has been monitoring our house. It happened to catch you half the neighborhood in our bed," I stated. "Daniel, please, let me explain," she pleaded. "Explain what?" "How Tom's tongue felt. How Richard brings you flowers. How that boy, he can't be older than 25, writes you poetry. I have 20 minutes of compiled footage. Would you like to see it?" I asked. She was crying now, mascara running in black rivers. It didn't mean anything. I was lonely. "You're always working." "So you scheduled affairs like business meetings? 2 to 3 times a week, very efficient," I observed. "It's not what you think," she started. "It's exactly what I think. It's what I know. It's what I can prove in court with time-stamped high-definition video," I said. Her phone rang. Her mother. Emily grabbed it desperately. "Mom?" "Mom, Daniel's lost his mind. He's divorcing me over nothing. You need to come over. Bring Dad, please." I let her spin her story, let her parents promise to rush over, let her believe she might salvage something. She collapsed on our couch, sobbing theatrically, already rehearsing her victim role. Her parents arrived in 40 minutes. Her father's face flushed with anger, her mother clutching her purse like a weapon. "Daniel Harris," her father started, "what the hell do you think you're doing to our daughter?" "Please come in," I said pleasantly. "Would you like to see why I'm divorcing Emily?" "We don't need to see anything," her mother snapped. Whatever imagined slight you've conjured, I'd connected my laptop to the living room TV. Just 5 minutes of your time, I requested. The video began. Emily with Silver Fox in the kitchen. Emily with polo shirt in our bedroom. Emily with young Buck on this very couch where she now sat. I'd edited tastefully, nothing pornographic, just enough to be undeniable. Faces clear, actions obvious, Emily's enthusiasm undeniable. Her mother's purse hit the floor. Her father stepped backward as if physically pushed. Emily grabbed for the remote, but I held it firmly. There's about 20 minutes total, but I think you get the idea, I said. Emily, her mother whispered. Emily, tell me this isn't real. Mom, I can explain, Emily started. In our bed? Her father's voice was hollow. In Daniel's bed? With multiple men? You don't understand what it's been like, she tried. We're leaving, her father announced, taking her mother's arm. Daniel, I'm sorry. We didn't know. Please don't go. Emily reached for them. Please, I'm your daughter. Her mother turned at the door. I don't know who you are, she said quietly. They left Emily sobbing on the floor. Her careful world collapsed. She looked up at me, mascara streaked, desperate. Daniel, please. 20 years. Doesn't that mean anything? She begged. It meant everything to me. Apparently it meant nothing to you, I answered. Where will I go? I have nothing, she cried. That's not my problem anymore, I replied. You can't just throw me out, she protested. Actually, I can. The house is in my name. The lawyer explained your options. You can leave voluntarily tonight, or the sheriff will escort you out Monday, I stated. She stood shakily, trying one last manipulation. I'll tell everyone you spied on me. You're a creep who filmed me secretly. Tell anyone you want. I'll show them the footage. See who they think is worse. The man who installed security cameras in his own home, or the wife who turned it into a brothel, I responded. That broke her completely. She collapsed again, this time genuinely destroyed. 20 years ended with her gathering clothes into garbage bags while I watched from the doorway. She left without another word, her car pulling away into the night. 6 months later, I stand in my kitchen, just my kitchen now, brewing morning coffee in absolute peace. The house feels different without Emily's presence, cleaner somehow, like opening windows after illness. The divorce finalized in 3 months. Murphy was right, Emily got nothing. No alimony, no settlement, just her $8,000 Honda and the clothes she'd packed that night. She'd tried fighting initially, hired a lawyer with money borrowed from somewhere, but when they saw the evidence, they advised her to take Murphy's offer, a quick, quiet divorce where the video stayed private. She didn't take the offer at first, tried to negotiate. Murphy responded by suggesting we could make the footage public record through the court filing. She signed within hours. The neighborhood knows, of course. Secrets don't keep in suburbia. Emily became the cautionary tale whispered at book clubs and BBQs. Tom from the hardware store transferred to another location. Richard, Silver Fox, resigned from the country club board. The young poet disappeared entirely. None of them acknowledge her existence anymore. She's radioactive, untouchable. Her parents cut contact completely. Her mother sent me a Christmas card apologizing again, saying they couldn't forgive what Emily had done. Her father ran into me at the grocery store, shook my hand, and told me I was still the son they'd wished they'd had. Emily wasn't mentioned. Last I heard, through the Suburban Intelligence Network, she was staying with a cousin in New Jersey, working retail, living in a studio apartment. She'd tried reaching out to old friends, but 20 minutes of footage had poisoned every well. Some called her a addict, others just a Nobody called her friend. I kept the security cameras, but rarely check them now. They record empty rooms, a man living alone, rebuilding. I've had offers. Women who've heard my story think I need saving, but I'm not ready. Maybe someday. For now, solitude feels like freedom. The house is mine. Every mortgage payment I'd made alone validated. My retirement accounts remain intact, growing toward a future that's entirely my own. The pre-divorce asset protection Murphy orchestrated saved everything I'd worked 20 years to build. Sometimes I wonder if Emily thinks about the cameras still recording. If she imagines me watching her wherever she is now, she probably tells herself I was controlling, abusive, that she was driven to affairs. People need narratives that make them heroes, not villains. but I have the truth, archived in pristine digital clarity. 20 minutes that revealed 20 years of deception. She thought she was clever, managing her careful schedule, her rotating cast, her elaborate deceptions. She forgot the camera never lies. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.